as well as my Facebook friends. Today was just like pretty dull actually. There wasn't really a whole lot to report. S&P should stay below 2600 again. Again, we didn't break above it. Just building a stronger case for the fact that it's likely coming, which I don't really like. Because you know me, I'm sure it finally makes a new low, which is going to be beautiful. Uh, However, we're just watching and waiting, and the fact that it got went up to the same level, like 4 points off 2600. Things kind of. I mean, it's one of those instances where your nerves just get bent out of shape. You know, you're just like, come on, man, just down. And this is where patients come at least the very minimum 45 days out, so you have a little bit of time for these kind of trades like this to work themselves out. If you're buying weekly options, you would have been going short. You would have gotten killed this week. We say that the news lately talking about how they are, you know, going to be patient about interest rates rises and the economy. It's all a load of crap, if you ask me. Crude oil, we did see that bounce. Crude had some volatility today. I mean, at one point on crude, we did break the 53 handle at one point today, but they did slam it back down. We actually ended up closing lower. They made the low of the day in, I think, around noon today. I want to say I was kind of away from the component. I didn't really get to see what was going on most of the day. But they did take it back down closer to the 51 handle, and they end up closing it lower around 51.70. So crude oil is having some problems right around that 50-day moving average, as to be expected. And we were still far away from that 80 MA as well. Still, it didn't really taper after today, so I do expect more downside this week, and I'm staying true to that. Gold, relatively unchanged. Gold is staying in that channel right now. Probably waiting to see, like, after all this chaos in the dollar and the euro this week, I think that kind of news from the Fed prompting inflation, which I think is probably the better bet because that's what the Fed does. They destroy the dollar, which is now 95.66. They clearly from last week into this week, they really hammered the dollar. And once again, these things it's always mean reversion all the time. You see on the weekly chart of DXY, and like I said, I'm going to be changing over from DXY. I'm going to check into this Bloomberg index, which this probably, for those of you that out there watching, you can check it out as well. It's supposed to be a bigger basket of currencies and not Eurocentric like the DXY. So with the dollar, uh, mean reverting a little bit, the euro did about the same thing. And on the weekly time frame, I do have, we got about, I can see I'm blind. I mean, you can't really tell on YouTube, but my glasses, you could burn ants with these things. Uh, so I have a hard time seeing these levels sometimes. But 14.8 on the euro, 1.148 on the euro was a resistance level I was watching, and despite all the strength going in there, they did on the weekly time frame end up closing below there. Not very, not by a very large margin, but they did take it back below there. But they're starting to break that level now, and significantly. So we're going to keep an eye on the euro this week via FXE options, because I think we will see something in there to the side. And I don't like it. I think I'm going to go back to the traditional ways, because this is like really, really awkward. cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin price flipping over and over on a weekly time frame. This week's green 2, nowhere close to going above the green 1 on the weekly, but I'll talk about that more Sunday evening, weekly time frame for Bitcoin. We had a big hammer down the 10th, which would have been Thursday. And then, as always, when you see one of these massive drops, you get like a doji kind of candle in there. You know, with that really tight range between the open and close, and then you have the wicks both up and down, showing indecision. You know, of course, you get a massive move like people don't, you know, they're greedy, they don't want to take profits yet. So, watching and waiting. And you know, technically, this thing is still above the bottom of the channel, really. We're up there about 90 to 30, that's 40 points above the bottom of the channel. So we're just watching and waiting. Not fully convinced that Bitcoin is done dumping yet. However, today, if you're getting short, look for days like today when they start trading higher. That's something that I've really been looking into a lot lately. Is day 2 after a giant slam down. Like you always see, you'll get this massive candle, and then you'll get a tiny little bounce just to, you know, profit takers. And then you'll see more moves to the downside. That's really what I've been focused on lately, is looking at that. Just with all the bearish sentiment in the stock market, in crude oil, in these swings and bumps, it's like that's really what I've been paying attention to, is very large moves like that to the downside versus the day after. Natural gas, I said I'm not done with natural gas. However, we are retesting the 200-day moving average, which is pretty sideways at this point, so we can't really get any meat out of a move there. I think this is short-lived, probably short covering. Supposedly, I was reading today that hedge funds are covering natural gas positions. That makes sense. Whoever sold natural gas up there in the higher $4 area, you may not like a bandit. I don't remember what the tick values are, any of that for the futures. I was trading UNG options, which, you know, are always a good time. If you were selling calls, you probably were pretty happy because the IB and UNG is like insanity always. It's not uncommon to see 3, 4, 5, 6% days in the natural gas market, which is fun. I mean, how much more could you want from a trading instrument, especially commodity, like commodities, crude oil, you know, stock indexes aren't commodities, they're just futures. Bonds aren't commodities, currencies aren't commodities, at least things like that. That's just my opinion. So I wouldn't even touch natural gas. I mean, yeah, we could get a 2 above a 1, but I just don't see. I don't see being able to pull out of profits out to the upside. 356 level point out here. I think that'd probably be a good short right in there. Buying puts, selling some calls. It was important going up as well as coming down in this year's natural gas cycle, so I'd be pretty comfortable shorting off of there. Let's see, 40, I don't think that's a 50%, but that's still pretty big in that market. Totally skip bonds. Yeah, bonds are starting to pop up a little bit here. They bounced off the 20-day moving average, which I said I was going to take off my charts, and I'm kind of glad I didn't now, because it actually has been kind of relevant here and there. So we did get a little bit of a bounce there. Haven't been able to see, I can't make up my mind whether this is a short covering rally slash relief rally. I mean, we didn't get a price flip on the sequential today. We're still sitting at a 4. If I can see colors, but I've gone to like black and white candles. So we are still below the 8 EMA. And since I'm doing dual live Facebook and YouTube right now, on my Facebook page when I broadcast live for the most part, so I have my handful of stocks that I like. I do the major commodities and stock indexes, gold, bonds, uh, crude oil, and these kind of things. So uh, you can see that. So tonight, YouTube, you're getting that same kind of structure as my Facebook page. Soybeans got absolutely decimated yesterday, as did my SOYB position. Bummer. Shit happens. This is what it is. Yeah, I guess YouTube, I probably should watch my mouth. I don't know how censored they are on here. Yeah, I don't want you like canceling my page because I talk like a sailor. I get away with it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm getting that thumbs up on that. Corn. Yeah, same thing in corn. Got hammered. My bias on grains, I think, may be changing. That's short term. I mean, if you go out to a longer term time frame, the same thing I talk about with the big down candle. You get the same thing with the big up candle. With these commodities, they seem to huge up. Or percent actually. The one that which soybeans are the only ones I was playing with this week. On the daily time frame, wheat actually closed above. So that was Thursday that they smashed the price on all three of the grains because of the dollar coming back up. I believe there could have been, when it comes to fundamentals of grains, I think I went over it. I'm still like learning the grain markets. But we did end up closing higher than the open of that big smash down candle, which was quite terrific. As for individual stocks, I was talking about Lennar. Looks like gonna be having problems. I was having some problems with TradingView yesterday. With individual stocks, I wasn't having any problems with the commodities, but individual stocks, it wasn't loading the current day. So today's candle is not I was talking about Bed Bath and Beyond though. That was one. For some reason I've kept it on my watch list. A friend of mine brought it up to me. I did a post earnings gap down continuation kind of trade on there like months ago, and for some reason I just kept it on my watch list and I took it off. On Yahoo Finance, it is my actual TradingView watch list is meager. But I have stuff on Yahoo Finance because they'll send me like news about earnings and all that stuff. And supposedly, I think it's up for debate. Bed Bath and Beyond beat earnings. I'm for continued weakness in Bed Bath and Beyond, which got just decimated. As we go back to October, which was when I was trading it, lost about 25% in 2.5 months, 3 months. So did the broader market, but I mean, this thing was good. If you look at the gap down we're talking about, this thing was a $19 stock. It lost half its value in 3 months. So I think that we just have a little bit of a relief rally coming in here. $16. Yeah, that would have been October. Okay, yeah, the whole retail sector, I mean, just is not hot whatsoever. And if you like shorting stocks, I think retail, any kind of retailer right now, with the exception of maybe Walmart or Target, like essentials really are a good short. When you get like specialties like Bed Bath and Beyond, Best Buy, really any of them, I think they're a wonderful short. And here on Bed Bath and Beyond, we actually, let's see, yeah, I'm out of whack, broken the setup trend line, which is pretty, that's pretty bullish typically when you do that. The range breakout essentially. It's the same idea. That's setup trend line is it's you get an area that's projected to be a top. You combine that with the sequential system, and it's ways to try to get in early. We did break, so Bed Bath and Beyond. I am looking at the 200-day moving average. It's as we're speaking right now, 1640, 1639, whatever. I round up all the time because who cares? Technical analysis is not an exact science. So that's what I'm watching for at Bed Bath and Beyond, a rejection at the 200, which here's an article right now. Bed Bath and Beyond Inc.'s investments in its stores and online presence could boost its stock performance. It's a good example of the media just capitalizing on common sense things like, oh, the stock price is going up, so we have to report on it, even though there's not really anything to report on, or it's already things we already knew. Like, that's how the traditional financial media works, and that's why it's better to just not pay attention to what they're saying. Lennar is one that's on the watch list as well, looking for short. Okay, I have to manually put in the numbers here since Trading View sucks. Okay, so today, Lennar, we did have a perfect 9 yesterday. And that's where I was looking at the short and the fact that, damn it, oops. The fact, I'm sorry. So, oh, that's the magic of live and not doing recorded and edited videos. You get the full experience. That's why I say that recorded is for chumps. But that's just my opinion. I don't need sound effects or any editing, none of that's whatever. So yesterday we did have the 9, and the fact that we had a bullish setup in Lennar. I talked about this on Facebook, so yeah, you Facebook guys, you get to hear it again. The fact that Lennar was already trading higher going into earnings tells me that they already priced in whatever earnings results that were coming. People on Wall Street are very intelligent, and they usually have a pretty good idea of what earnings are going to look like. They have analysts specifically that do all this fundamental projections of earnings, balance sheets, and that's just all they do. Which, if you're like a bank that makes billions of dollars every year, you can afford that, and you sell that information. Wall Street's probably buying this because they know something. And then you get the retail people coming in that think they know something when they really don't. And bid it up even further as Wall Street is selling you their shares for a hefty profit because that's how this game works. So I think that was all priced into Lennar already. The fact that we did close higher today, I didn't, like I said, Trading View sucks right now, and it sucked yesterday too. For individual stocks, so I can't really see where we're at right now versus where it opened. Like watch list stocks usually aren't stocks I have positions in. I'm just watching to put positions on, and as we speak. Lennar, I don't, it doesn't even matter because if it got down and they closed it higher than the close of the earnings day, whatever, same thing. Perhaps we're coming into consolidation here. However, home sales are just like retail; they're not fundamentally wise. The way that their market is not good, and I'm just trying to combine a little bit more fundamentals in with my technical analysis, finding weak sectors that are under pressure from economic matters, along with stocks that are at price streams like Lennar is right now. This is something that I'm looking at. Weekly time frame. I actually didn't go into this yesterday. Yeah, exactly. Lennar got hammered. The broader market. Yeah, they just broke the 20 today. 46. 41 is actually 50%. Bottom of the channel up here. Close. 48.70, give or take. Yeah, that was the breakdown. Wow, Lennar really got hammered. Let's go to the bottom of the channel, 48.70. And the bounce occurred at 37. Wow. Another one that got hammered. So Applied Materials. 2 above the 1 on the weekly chart, which I do not particularly like to see. They retested the 200 day above the 80 MA. I might just dump that on Monday. Alcoa. Doji City on Alcoa. Alcoa's been getting battered for some time. It's just like US Steel. We topped out at 62. Bottomed out at 25. Wow, that is nuts. Alcoa could have a little ways to go, maybe with the broader market. Keeping an eye on that one. No trades right now. Pacific Gas and Electric. Oh my God, this stock is a nightmare. Probably gonna whack this thing again. I wouldn't be surprised to see this as a $10 stock by the year, or probably sooner than now. They did downgrade their debt to junk, which means it's high risk, which means only people like hedge funds and accredited investors really can buy it. Mutual funds can't buy it, and they're usually pretty big buyers of corporate debt. So that limits their pool, so it's going to be harder for them to raise money now. Supposedly they're on the hook for a $30 billion lawsuit in California, connected to all the wildfires out there. How true is that? I don't know, but a bunch of their executives have stepped down. It's probably not a good sign for them. If you're guilty, what do you do? Oh, my video ended on Facebook, bummer. That's okay. I give them more content than I give YouTube, so we'll take it. Well, on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and call it quits here. We'll be doing some work this weekend to try to just update the page. Since this really was like my first week, I wanted to just give it the trial run, see how things are going to work out on here. Hopefully I'll have some kind of screen share going by the end of the weekend, and we'll see what happens. I should have some more things posted here though by then. So on that note, have a good weekend, everybody. I hope it's a great one.